special problem or chemistry special problem. So when they go to work in a company, they really are broadly educated and having a lot of essential skills that can deal with the employer and the customer and the stakeholders that come in contact with the company. For example, now a student who is learning tea technology and value addition would know a lot about the tea, how to grow tea and how to process it, how to add value to tea as a commercial high value product, and so on. A student who is learning mineral resources and technology will know how to transform graphite into a high value product or gems into a high value product, and the industrial applications of fuel cells in materials and things like that, you see, or production of solar cells and things like that. And they can form businesses out of simple raw material that we get in Sri Lanka. In fact, I'm trying to help them to start new businesses, small ideas that they have generated, and that can become small business enterprises. Now, the ability to take a higher risk going in for a business comes out of this training in entrepreneurship, to be wanting to be successful in life. When you go in,
where you tie up the definition of entrepreneurship, of wanting to be successful and also to be a risk taker.
Exactly. When you have the skills, you get the confidence and you can take the risk. When you have the skill, you can fearlessly enter a market with a commercialized, commercially valuable product. That's the philosophy.
And also, Mr. Embuldeniya, on that note, how can you explain the process of adding value to the economy itself? Like, why should we have more entrepreneurial universities, and what is the role of an entrepreneurial university in adding value to the economy?
Actually, when you look at countries who are ahead of us economically, how they became so rich is by choosing to add value to their resources, their own resources, as well as the resources they purchase from countries like ours. We have remained a primary raw material producer for the world market for a very long time. Even today, we are largely a primary raw material producer. Our tea, rubber, coconut, minerals, and all these resources are being exported in bags and bulk as primary material. They purchase this material and transform this material into high value products. What they did to transform primary material into high value material is finding the technology to do that work. Now, in our country, in our universities, what we should do is doing the same thing to teach our generations of students the technologies used in transforming our material into higher value products. This is the service of my university to our students, really.
Right. So in that case, what you mean is, like, when they come up with high technology and they can actually add value, they also come up with a patent possibly, and they have intellectual properties, and then that can also lead to a corporation, and the corporation commercially can add value to the economy. Exactly. And then they also don't depend on the government itself. So you tie up with what you exactly told before.
Out of 100 students, if I have 5 students who come up with business ideas to start businesses, that will create enough employment opportunities for a larger number of people. And also, if I have the remaining 95 students going into the private sector working as entrepreneurial employees, they will produce much greater value to the existing companies in the country.
Right.
Like what the example I gave you earlier about the hide, you see, the fish. And then, you can do the same thing with minerals, you can do the same thing with tea, you can do with palm and latex. Look at the coconut industry today, the latex that is produced in the rubber industry. We need to make it higher value.
So as a university, I think that's only the first university to be like an entrepreneurial university. What can you take, what initiatives can you as a Vice Chancellor and the university take in this particular sphere of the concept of entrepreneurial education? And do you think you can influence policy and advocate for maybe a government and policy body that is talking about entrepreneurship? Because if you say that if from the university you can produce 5 graduates who are entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs who start up the business, they can add so much value. If there are a couple of universities like that, we can obviously imagine the synergies it can give the economy. So what will be the role of your university in that sense?
Actually, I must tell you that there were teams of professors who came to Sri Lanka 2 years ago from UK universities. They are trying to transform the traditional Oxbridge model universities to become entrepreneurial, because they have realized their students are not entrepreneurial enough, though we see them as entrepreneurial, because when we send our students to educate in UK and they have a ready job in Sri Lanka, because we think they are really marketable here in Sri Lanka, but UK thinks that they need to do much harder work to transform their traditional universities to become entrepreneurial. So when they came to Sri Lanka, they saw among the universities that Uvela's university is an all entrepreneurial university. Last year they invited me to UK to be a keynote speaker in the International Entrepreneurial Educators Conference, and there were about 300 delegates, and I was really thrilled to find that, you know, that they really appreciated the model that we were using, and you know, there were high comments, high commendation. I must also thank the British Council in Sri Lanka for the last 3 years, and the country director, Mrs. Jill Westerway. They have been putting a great effort in Sri Lanka to really to help universities transform themselves into becoming entrepreneurial. I think, you know, it's a real valuable opportunity that we have in Sri Lanka to use that kind of resource to help our universities and to really transform ourselves. Every degree program in our country, be it medicine, engineering, history, geography, or any science specializations, chemistry, physics, bio, zoo, botany, any program, agriculture, they can have a part in their co-curriculum to transform a student to be entrepreneurial. And this is a very easy thing. As I said, bring the essential skills, bring some broad general knowledge into the main curriculum, and then give the opportunities to students to practice those skills. And then I think when they pass out, they will strive out of their own self-drive to become more successful than waiting for the government to dole out or hand out a job to them.
Right, Mr. Embuldeniya, we will take another short break and we will be back with you soon.